Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Speaker, before I go into my short response, may I just greet the chiefs and people of Burumbusanga as proper traditional protocol in Fijian. Nabuno sa kabaturang ay Burumbusanga, Irewa, kimni naturang itokay hindi manuwa kini goling-goli, natolase, wanaturang natitabuki, nakurwa-rua, turang nakalebo natuinan ronga, korolebu, naturang abundibalu, nabuke-buke, wanabundibalu natuinamosi, nabotu koyawa, wanamomo na tuitabua, niliuli ni mbosi ni momo. Tikasakungwa na turanga natuinakaw. This morning, Honorable Speaker, this bill is a very important one, especially the amendment, because the main architect behind the Principal Act was Ratul Selala Sukuna, who went throughout Fiji, Honorable Speaker, in the 1930s, and we see that the Principal Act was in 1940, which the Attorney General has brought for amendment this morning before the House. Honorable Speaker, on Monday, I spoke about the three-legged stool, which is very important for us Fijians, and it's being quoted in the rural, the urban, maritime, about the importance of the three-legged stool, which is the Vanua, the Lotu, and the Matanitu. Honorable Speaker, it is good to know our history, because when we know our history, we know ourselves better, and we relate to others. The Vanua were the first people who arrived here, the indigenous people. They arrived in Fiji, in Bunda, and according to radio carbon dating, the Lapita pottery, it dates back to 3,500 years ago, Honorable Speaker. That is when the first indigenous Fijians landed here in Fiji, and they are the first people of the land, the first people of Fiji, and that is part of our history. The Lotu, Honorable Speaker, arrived in the early 1800s, with the Methodists arriving first, and then the Catholics, and of course we have the other denominations here also in Fiji. The deed of cession, Honorable Speaker, was signed by the chiefs in 1874, the ceding of Fiji to Queen Victoria and her descendants. From that time onwards, Honorable Speaker, each government has recognized the importance of the Vanua and the Lotu and consulted with them on a regular basis. From the Alliance, the SVT, the Fiji Labour Party, the SDL, and all political parties, they recognize the importance of the Vanua, the Lotu, and the Matanitu, and the three-legged stool working together so that it could stand with stability, and it wasn't wobbly or anything happened to it. So each of these legs looked after one another. Except, Honorable Speaker, when the Fiji First came in, who now have no respect, no consideration, no acknowledgement of the importance in history of these entities. Whilst the indigenous Fijians, because they're the first people of the land, Honorable Speaker, whilst they own 90% of the land,
91%.
That is the landowners, Honorable Speaker, they had the NLTB, and now Itoke Lands Trust Board, which was the brainchild of Ratusukuna, who was very well qualified, Honorable Speaker. He went to Middle Temple in England, in London, to do his law degree. And that's one of the top legal entities, as you know, Honorable Speaker, in the world. So he went there, he came back, and he looked at how the land was organized here in Fiji, and he thought it would be better if it was properly organized and documented. That was the very important part, Honorable Speaker, that it be documented. And he went all over the country. And when you go to some villages in Fiji, they remember that Ratusukuna came here. He came here and he slept in this village. And he asked us so many questions. nanema matavuvale, nanema toka, nanema matangali, nanema miabusa, kema viwekani bakadhava kine ebusango. This ebusa has the same name as another ebusa. This village has a name similar to another village. How are you people related? So Ratasukuna was very involved in the Principal Act, of which we are trying to amend here today, having gone throughout Fiji. And those who know the Abusa, Honorable Speaker, know that there is a document that is called Tukutukuraramba, near Abusa. And all these Abusas put all their information together, Honorable Speaker, and it is there with the NLC. And if there are any issues that we have, it is referred back to the NLC because of the documentation that Ratasukuna made throughout Fiji with all the different Yabusas. My own Yabusa, Honorable Speaker, in 1923, Yabusa Mburubasanga. So throughout Fiji, all the Yabusas are documented there, and their lands, Honorable Speaker, which is a very important component of the Yabusa. But Fiji first, when they came along, did away with all this, Honorable Speaker. And the chair and members of the ITLB, the chair is the Prime Minister, he has the fiduciary duty, Honorable Speaker, to act in the best interests of the indigenous landowners. And in this bill, they have fallen far short of their duties and responsibilities. The indigenous Fijians, Honorable Speaker, over 30,000 of them, have signed a petition, and also online, Honorable Speaker, their concern, their apprehension that there was no consultation whatever with landowners, either by government or by the ITLTB, to protect and safeguard our rights and our interests. To obtain the consent, no consideration at all, Honorable Speaker. Fiji First Government usually do their bulldozing tactics, and this is what they've done with this particular bill. And in this bill, Honorable Speaker, where they want to remove the consent, so that the consent is not required of the board. This is the ITLTB, Honorable Speaker. And this is a very, very important component of our land. We need the consent because we are the landowners. You can't just go over and take over something that does not belong to you. And this is what the Fiji First Government has been doing, Honorable Speaker. From 2007, after the Prime Minister, Honorable Barenge Bainimarama, carried out his coup in 2006, from 2007, systematically, Honorable Speaker, they have been weakening the rights and privileges of the indigenous Fijians over ownership of their land and other rights over the 20 decrees that they have put in, and it is now contained in the 2013 Constitution, through which there was no consultation at all with any of us. We got a shock, Honorable Speaker, in 2014, when we arrived on the first day of Parliament, sitting right beside our table was the Constitution and the standing orders, the original one, and we had no idea at all how this 2013 Constitution came about. So that is, I'm talking here, Honorable Speaker, because the bill is going to be part of this. So this is what happened, Honorable Speaker, and this is not a racist concern. I just want to make it clear here. It is because we see ourselves, Honorable Speaker, as guardians and custodians over anything that is indigenous, which belongs to us, because we have to safeguard it, Honorable Speaker. It has to be passed on to the generations to come. We are only here for a short period of time, but our children, our grandchildren, this is for them to inherit. So right now we have to safeguard and ensure that all these are kept in perpetuity for the generations to come. Other groups, Honorable Speaker, also have their entitlements and benefits, and we welcome them. And we want to work with them over these entitlements and benefits. We are not here to take over anybody's right. We're just looking at what is ours, Honorable Speaker, from the deed of cession right up to now. If we do not say anything now, Honorable Speaker, what will be left for our children and our grandchildren? So in conclusion, Honorable Speaker, our request to the government, that is Honorable Prime Minister and Honorable Attorney General, please consult with the indigenous on any matters pertaining to the indigenous rights and privileges and our entitlements. These belong to us. In that regard, the matters will be easier for government. We will cooperate and collaborate with you, but you must consult and you must obtain our consent, because what is ours is ours. It is not for you to take from us. So please, Honorable Attorney General, we are asking you to withdraw this bill, because it is not in anybody's interest for you to have this bill passed today. And I ask the people of Burumbasanga especially, we ask you to remain calm. This is not a time to be doing anything.
It's not going to
People of
happen.
Burumbasanga, excuse me, your time will come.
Yes.
To the people of Burumbasanga and the people of Fiji, we are asking you to remain calm. Even though over 30,000 of you have signed your petition, especially the landowners who own these large tracts of land that make up 90% of the total land area in Fiji, your time will come. When
91%.
you have
Get it
to,
right.
particularly
Order,
from the
order,
West,
order.
where over 40% of you voted for Fiji First. Your time will come in 2022. You will learn from 2014 and 2018. So please, PM and AG, withdraw the bill. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
You have not said relevant to the bill. Nothing at all.
I thank the honourable member for contribution to debate. I now give the floor to the Honourable Minister Chone Usumate. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for the opportunity to talk